I was actually pretty nervous about coming out here, but when they showed the majority of those clips from my first talk, it took some of the stress off. I thought it would, but it really didn't. Just like everybody in this room, I get scared sometimes. I get scared of my mom, Tess, giving TED Talks, sharks, tornadoes, my mom. Wait a second. I don't have the clicker. Hold on. Where's the clicker? I got it. Okay. It's all good. Anyway, you know, sharks, tornadoes, sharknadoes, all sorts of things that they might seem sort of silly, except of course the mom part. They might seem silly, but you know, if you think those are silly, there's some other things you should really look at, because there's some pretty weird fears out there, like hippomonstrosquipedaliophobia. It's a fear long words. It's really ironic because it's one of the longest words in the English language with 32 letters. Phobophobia, the fear of phobias. Pantherophobia, the fear of your mother-in-law, which is weird because I actually looked up to see if there would be a fear of actual mothers, and there wasn't, which I thought would be more common. Arachnobutyrophobia, which is the fear of peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth. And, you know, these are really weird. And I even saw an article where this woman had panic attacks when she saw buttons. She'd be having a panic attack if she came into this room and I was standing up here with all these buttons. And, you know, it's really weird. But what if we didn't have to live in a world where all these fears were present? What if we didn't have to be scared of these kind of things? Guess what? We can. We don't have to be scared of those sort of things. And I can tell you about how you can get over fears by telling you about a fear I had. When I was in the first grade, I would go to the library just about, you know, every week. We had, you know, our library days, but I also go a lot during free period. And this guy, Miss Ball, was this great science teacher. I loved having her. She was awesome. And I would cross through the 6th grade hallway every day to get to the library. So at first I didn't really notice it, but, you know, I would look into the class, you know, oh, 6th graders, they're so cool. What do they do in their classes? And right across from the doorway in Miss Ball's class, this cutout of Albert Einstein was there. I didn't realize it was a cutout of Albert Einstein. I thought Albert Einstein voluntarily showed up to our school and helped with the science class in 6th grade. But the thing is, it wasn't like, you know, oh, that's so cool, because every single day I came back and he's standing there staring at me, and I was like, what's this guy want? I got really freaked out. You know, I would pass through the halls. I'd send my friends ahead of me, so if Albert came out, they'd get them instead of me. I would do that thing where it's like, oh, okay. You know, you don't, when you see people in public and you don't want to see them. And it got really, really bad. It started chasing me to my house because I had this pencil coat rack. Probably like that tall. You know, it just sat in the corner of my room. I put my coats on it, and I would wake up in the middle of the night, you know. Everyone does this, like 3 in the morning, gotta go to the bathroom. So, you know, I woke up, I was like, oh man, I gotta go to the bathroom. Start getting out, and I see this pencil coat rack, and for some reason my brain goes, it's Albert! And I just throw myself back into my bed. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna take another look. It's probably not Albert. And I look, and it was Albert. I swear, I thought it was Albert. So I was like, okay, calm down. It's fine. You don't have to get under the bed. You know, this kept going on and on and on. And I was like, you know what? Albert's getting to be a nuisance. This is bad because, I mean, he's tracking me from the school to my house. I don't know how he found out where I live. Maybe he got one of the school directories. But I started really thinking to myself, I should take care of this. So as I would walk past Miss Ball's classroom, I would, you know, I would still be scared, but I might walk as slow as I could and be like, psh, Albert, what do you think you got on me? And then I started just staring at him as I walked by, and this freaked me out a lot, but I did it anyway, and I was like, hey, this isn't that big of a deal. So anyway, I kept going, and this got better and better, and eventually I had no problem with it. So I started getting up in the middle of the night, parading around my room. You know, room 5 says they got the moves like Jagger, but you should have seen me. I was pointing my finger at that pencil coat rack. I was just moving all around the place, and I had no problem anymore. And so I eventually started realizing that that kind of thing works for other fears too. So if like you're giving a TED Talk. So I'm obviously really scared right now. I've messed up like 3 times now, and it's pretty obvious. So if you're giving a TED Talk, you're obviously going to be really scared and panicking. And you should see our green room. It's pretty clear. So if I really came back to the story and I went through it, and the first step would be to ask yourself, why are you scared? Because if you're sitting here and there's a crowd in front of you, are you scared because they won't take your ideas seriously, or because they might laugh at you? That's not going to happen. And also, another scientific thing is that people think that it comes from our caveman days. Because it's like this part of your brain that sees you on top of a stage and this mob of people, and your brain thinks, oh, you got to get out of there. They're going to attack you, which I hope won't happen. But then you ask yourself, study the odds. What are the odds it's going to happen? If you really prepared for this speech and you didn't forget the clicker behind the stage, they would probably take your talk pretty seriously. And if they somehow manage to storm the stage and attack you, I'm really sorry that I gave you bad advice on that one. But, and then as soon as you realize that they won't storm the stage, hopefully, that you step back and laugh at yourself because you're being kind of silly. And you recollect your breath, and you go, and then you start to do this thing called immersion therapy. It's where you slowly wade into a fear to get over it. And that's what I did with Albert. You know, if you're scared, you can give me a TED Talk, maybe you'll give it to your friends and family. You tell jokes to strangers in an elevator. They'll think you're weird, but it'll help. Do these kind of things, and eventually you kind of get ready to just jump into your fear. So then you give your TED Talk. It really helps. It really helped for when I was preparing to give my TED Talk a while back. Didn't mess up this much, but it finally, if you're obviously still supposed to be scared, all the bright lights and the people looking at you, and then you just got to remember what Mark Twain said. There are only two types of speakers in the world, the nervous and the liars. And that's really, really true. So if we come back to Albert here, when I was in 6th grade, I had Miss Ball. It was her last year teaching. I really lucked out that I got her. And I told her this story, and she thought it was hilarious. And, you know, she was like, at the end of the school year, I want you to have him. And he's actually in my room now. He sits in the corner, not where the pencil quiver rack used to be. That'd trigger bad stuff. So, and it doesn't scare me anymore, probably because I'm 14 and in the 8th grade. But also, even if I did get scared of the Albert Einstein cutout in my room, I would have these steps to get over him. And I want to tell you about these steps so that you don't have to be afraid of sharing your ideas. That your ideas we're sharing will be able to be shared. Thank you.